Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about how we can change negative and bad emotional feelings by changing the neuropathways to our brain. I'm Risa Morimoto, your host. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, and you're watching Modern Aging, where we chat about innovative and holistic ways to elevate our health and well-being as we age. When you click on that little red button below that says subscribe on it with that little bell next to it, you'll be sure to be notified whenever a new episode is uploaded. I'd also love for you to check out our website at thisismodernaging.com. My guest today is Lisa Ludovici. She is a medical support hypnosis practitioner. I talked with her a couple of years ago about the effectiveness of hypnotherapy and how it can really help relieve chronic illness and pain and anxiety. If you have not seen that video, you got to check it out. I'll put the link up here. But today, Lisa's going to share with us how negative emotions can really have a bad ripple effect on our overall health and how we can change and alter the neuropathways to our brain to change how we feel. And with all that's going on in the world right now, I think we could all use a little bit of help. So check it out. Today, I wanted to bring you back because I feel like the world is a huge stress ball right now. And there's so many different feelings that people are experiencing, and they don't know what to do with these feelings. And so I was hoping that you could help us kind of talk through it, and if there are tools that we could use to help ameliorate some of these horrible feelings that we're having.
There are a wide range of feelings and emotions going on in every person across the world. And it is natural and normal to have feelings, right? We feel the feelings in our body. And these emotions just prove to us that we're human beings. And there are no bad feelings. There are misunderstood feelings.
Well, there's a lot of misunderstood feelings right now.
Yes, there are. And you know, when we misunderstand something, we label it as bad, wrong, run away from it, or stop it. And we learned, many of us learned how to stop feeling our feelings when we were younger. And it happens in many ways. So I'm going to just give you an example. Whenever the adult, the parent, maybe even an older sibling, somebody says, you know, oh, stop your crying. Don't you shout at me. Timmy's having another temper tantrum. You're bad. Right? Those are natural human expressions. We give cues to each other all the time to stop feeling, to suppress feelings. And it looks like this. As soon as somebody cries, you know, you're sitting there with your girlfriend and she starts crying, you say, oh, don't cry. And no, cry. Have this emotional expression. Or just saying nothing and handing someone a tissue. That's the symbol. Hide the feelings, hide the expression, hide your emotions, wipe it away.
Why are we that way?
Because of our childhood. We're taught to not feel. Maybe we were punished for raising our voice in public or at mom because we are so frustrated. We're 3. We don't know how to say, Mom, I'm feeling quite frustrated today. We just know that these feelings, they're chemicals that come out into the body. They're hormones that come out and flood the body. And it feels, you know, the cortisol coming out, it can feel terrible. But in the beginning, it didn't feel terrible. It felt new. And we didn't know what that was. So when all that cortisol, when we were younger and we were being bad or throwing a tantrum, not appropriate words to use ever, what was happening was something very natural and very real. So the young person is in this state of distress. They need something. They've only been alive for 3 years. They can't communicate what it is. They just know this feeling is, they don't like it. So the body immediately says, okay, it's in fight or flight. Think about it. Fight, flight, running. Then when we look at a tantrum, what's the young person doing? fighting and kicking, they're fighting and fleeing at the same time, but just on their back on the floor.
Right.
Because getting those chemicals out is going to feel a lot better for that kid because it's out of the body. Now what happens when we go into fight or flight through feelings? We don't do any movement. So where do those chemicals go? Where does the cortisol go? In our back, into our body. And then, you know how they say, just abdomen, weight linked to cortisol.
Yeah, and then you start having, gut issues,
Right.
heart issues.
And gaining weight in that area because that's where the cortisol goes and settles. So it's physically damaging to our health to suppress feelings and emotions. Our feelings are nature's built-in guidance system. It's designed to let us know that our needs are not being met. So if we continue to suppress and repress our feelings, we learn how to not feel. And people will say, well, that feels a lot better because I don't want to feel bad. Well, that creates a whole lot of problems too, because it may look like now as an adult, the suppression or the repression of uncomfortable feelings, which is basically your body saying there's an unmet need you need. These are signals, these are guideposts, and now we're eating them away. We're drinking them away. We are using tobacco to make them go away. We're doing all of these things so that in that moment, we get a moment of relief. And it's probably about that, a moment, maybe a little longer. And we have to keep doing that to feel better and better, meaning I don't feel this uncomfortable feeling. The more we distract, the more frustrated we get. And then here comes depression.
So people who are violent and commit violent acts, is that them expressing themselves, or is that distracting and using anger as a
that
way?
Is definitely somebody who does not know how to, is not emotionally fit. Lots of people aren't emotionally fit. We hear the term emotional intelligence a lot. I like to think of it as emotional fitness. It's not about not having emotions and feelings. What are you going to do with them? Because emotional intelligence is way, way more critical to quality of life than IQ.
Right.
So the person that is, harming someone else, harming themselves, right? That's not about having the expression, let it express. The parent, the caregiver, it's their job to teach the children about emotions. We don't just say, oh, well, every time you feel, badly, that's okay to do that. You want to sit with the child. You want to give them a safe space to express themselves. Then you want to have conversations that are age appropriate. So uncomfortable feelings as a child show up as, I have a stomach ache, I have a tummy ache, I don't want to go to school. And then, oh, you're going to school, you were fine yesterday. Well, today they're not. That's probably some anxiousness. I'm too afraid to go to sleep. There's something under my bed. Well, the fear of sleep, right? They're telling you, I need something that I don't have, but they don't know how to communicate it. And it may be, I'm scared, I'm frightened, I don't feel safe. There are plenty of adults that don't even know how to say that. And we expect a child to be able to say that. They don't know what they're feeling. We have to teach them this. We have to say, okay, well, what does that feel like in your stomach? Well, if it looked like something, what would it be? Is it big? Is it small? Is it colorful? Let them know that it's okay to feel that. And it's okay to not feel completely comfortable. They're safe. They just don't feel comfortable. Those are two different things. And when we have the feeling and that emotion, that reaction like you're talking about, that is something from long ago and the past. The feelings we have today, especially with what's going on in the world today, many can relate to this. Those feelings, those uncomfortable feelings that seem like they're lasting hours, days, weeks, and months, those are all a record of the past. Because all the chemicals that come out in our body when we are expressing a feeling, when we have a feeling in our body, is drawing upon the chemicals that were expressed long ago. It's the same feeling. It's almost like reliving a traumatic moment. Do you ever, you have a friend or a family member and they, everything seems to be going well and you're having a conversation. All of a sudden it's like, straw broke the camel's back, and now you've got this, 50, 60-year-old person that has resorted to almost what your, 5-year-old grandkid is doing. Well, that is the same trigger. It's the same expression. It's the same thing of maybe they don't feel safe. They feel attacked. They feel angry, unworthy, whatever it is. They have a need right then and there that they cannot communicate. So they just go right back into what they did when that first happened long ago in their life. And it becomes a pattern. That's why learning about your feelings, learn how to feel them. And it's okay to sit in some discomfort. It's okay. It's just a feeling. And then you can say, oh, you know what? It's a heaviness, a tightness on my chest. My stomach feels like it's churning. I'm worried. I'm so worried, right? So now you've named it. It's not this scary thing chasing you, right? It's okay to feel that. It's okay to feel it. Name it, and then you can work with it.
That's awesome. So how do we resolve those feelings? Like, how do we continue not to be triggered? Or I think we all have triggers, right? I mean, I definitely have triggers. It may be something, it could be a sight, it could be a smell, it could be something somebody says, it could be, you watch something on TV, whatever, right?
Always. I'm talking the ones that disrupt relationships and your life. I'm talking about the ones that keep you from being physically, mentally, and emotionally well.
So how do we change that? Or how do we at least somehow own it so that we can do something or, be able to...
Working with them first and foremost, because the distract and the delay is, I don't want to deal with it. So an example of the signals and the signs in a car. So if you were driving a car and your oil light went on, what would you do? Would you put a piece of tape over it so you couldn't see it?
Some people probably do.
Okay, somebody else, but
not me. But yes.
Yeah. So you wouldn't put a piece of black electrical tape over it so you didn't say, "Oh, great, no problems here," And then then what would happen? Let's just say that you did do that. And now the problem's gone. Can't see it. Doesn't exist. No, nothing's wrong. Then you start to hear a little bit of churning in the engine. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, this isn't good. This is not good at all. So you turn up the radio. Oh, yeah, things are better now. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. This is good. And then all of a sudden you start to smell something. Oh, you smell hot burning metal. So you roll down the window, stick your head out the car window, singing that song on the, radio. Shortly, your car is a hunk of metal on the side of the road. It's no different than us. Let me eat this away. Let me smoke this away. Now you just have that third drink to let it go away. But it doesn't go away. We just hide it. And then eventually, life gets very difficult. We have strained relationships. We lose relationships. We start being unwell often physically. We all know what it feels like to be emotionally unsettled. We all do. But it's not just one of those things that's like a dark soul of the night. It's not 3 nights of restlessness. It goes on for months. It's chronic. That's when we know that we have something that we could address to help us. So we can do something today where You get to see how powerful you are, that you get to ameliorate and control the feelings in your body. It is also, I don't want it to be misconstrued that it's just about doing that and letting it go, because while that is very important in the immediacy to say, oh, I get to control how I feel. Okay, they don't have anything over me. It's just a feeling and I can control it. Gives us empowerment. And then you start to see the patterns of when it comes up. You start to say, okay, well, what do I need to feel better in this moment? Which I know sometimes I'm like, well, the cigarette and the alcohol and the food, the pizza, right? No, it's telling us take action in your life. And it also could be an inaction. Stop doing what you've been doing. Start doing this, right? With the car, get off the next exit and go to the gas station. I need to take an action. And as soon as we pull off and we pull into the gas station, it's like, okay, everything's going to be okay. We're going to take care of this. It's the same way in our life. Same way. When we allow ourselves to feel the feelings, know that we can change them and ameliorate them, and then take an action, that's emotional fitness.
Right, because something will always come up and we'll always feel something.
Always. We're human beings.
Right.
Always. Always. And when I talked earlier about triggers, I mean something that, say, in a, you're talking with somebody or a situation happens in a group and a person or maybe a couple of them, it's a reaction that is just way beyond what the situation really called for. It's just an overreaction to what the thing was. That is a direct relationship to what has happened in the past for that person. And it has become their way of functioning in the world. And typically, it doesn't go well when we function like that long term.
So what can we do though? So are there certain like mantras that you say to yourself when you get triggered, or are there?
Would you like me to guide you through the experience?
Oh God. Now I'm scared.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, it's
sure.
all going to happen internally. It's happening in your mind. So
Okay.
I'm not going to even ask you for feedback. So this is something that's going to be a part of the most significant, most important, and most beautiful part of your world, which is your inner world. When we turn within ourselves, that's where we find our power, our empowerment. That's our life, our inner world. Your life, your outer life, is exactly the representation of your inner life. So if somebody doesn't like how their outer world is and what they're experiencing, it means turn inward, because that's where the change has to happen. I have
100%.
clients that will come to me for all sorts of things. And I've had quite a few that will say, we're leaving New York, we're going to Florida. Oh, okay, what's going on there? Well, my husband just gets angry a lot, has a short temper, and seems just so stressed out. And I think it's the city. I think it's the vibe of the city. And I'm talking about, this happened, to be clear, this is something that happened about 8 years ago that I'm talking about. I just think that, he's been seeing you. I think he'll feel better in Florida. Okay. So they go to Florida. How are things going? He's still angry. Wherever you go, there you are. You can change all of this. You can go buy a new outfit. You can get the new car and the new shoes and the new home. Wherever you go, there you are. And unless you get real intimate with who you are on the inside, life's not going to be as pleasant and beautiful as it possibly could be. So
okay, let's do this. Now I'm curious.
Okay. So this is something that you can replicate over and over. And just like anything else, the more you do it, the better you are at it. And you are making new connections from your mind, your brain, and your body. So everything.
You mean like actual neurological connections?
Yes. So you're rewiring pathways in your brain. And the more we rewire them, the stronger those get, which mean the ones that were not helpful to us, they wither away. It's just like a plant. The plant that you water grows and expands. The plant that you don't shrinks, shrivels, and eventually dies. So it's just like that.
Wow.
So, you ready to have a nice experience?
Yes, let's do this.
Okay. So this will just be, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, it's going to be real short, very powerful. So it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing for it to create nice results for you. Okay. So let's start just by breathe out through your mouth, long and slow, and take a gentle breath in through your nose, normally, easily when you're ready. And when you're ready, just go ahead and close your eyes on your next exhalation. Good. Now, turn your awareness inside of yourself. Okay. And I want you to think about maybe something that happened today, yesterday, or even long ago that has some uncomfortable, unpleasant feelings and emotions. So you just thinking about this memory, this thing that happened today, last week, years ago, just by revisiting that memory, you might start to feel some unpleasantness somewhere in your body. Just notice. So tune in and notice where it's located. It could be maybe a sense of tightness in your chest or a shaking in your stomach. Maybe it's an ache in your back or your neck. You're just locating it. So this is where you're feeling the emotion. You're just observing it and continue to breathe. And now you're going to see just how powerful you really are. And you are going to realize that you are in control of the experiences, functions, and sensations of your body. So now that you know how you're feeling and where you're feeling it, we're going to start doing some things with this feeling so that you can feel better. If this unpleasant feeling took a shape or form, just notice what that would be. Could look like anything. It could look like something that you're familiar with or something completely new. Notice if it's big or small, soft, rough, dark, light. And now imagine that you could just reach into your body and pull that form out and put it out in front of you. You could even imagine that you step out of it. So you back up out of that form and it's out in front of you. Just explore which might feel better for you, pulling it out or stepping back. And this is your imagination, so anything and everything is possible in your imagination. Notice how big it is and how close it is to you. You can move it out in the distance so that it gets smaller and smaller. That might feel really good. Might feel better. Or you can shrink it down right there in front of you and make it smaller and smaller. That might feel better. Just notice. You can do both of them to realize which feels better for you. Turn this form and the environment around it – 'black and white. Take all the color out. And now you're going to begin to dim the color and the intensity down. So you want to take it into black and white and imagine that you're using a dimmer switch, and you're going to lower the light. You dim it down all the way dark. You could turn the dimmer switch all the way up and white it out completely. Or you could just push that dimmer switch in and turn off all the lights. Just explore which feels better for you. Then you're probably already feeling a bit better by now. And we're using the imagination, so it's okay if you don't literally see these things. You can just do it with your intention. Because of the mind-body connection, the brain's connection to the body, these changes are still happening. Even if you're not aware of it, you can just make the decision to make these changes imaginally. Now, you want to become aware of any sounds that come from this thing that we're working with. There might be loud sounds or screeching. Just like a TV, you can turn the volume down. And notice how that feels. You are in control of your inner experiences, your feelings, the sensations and the functions of your body. And if you're having any remaining unpleasant feelings, you can just imagine taking this form, if it's still there, and sending it down into the earth. The more you use these techniques and tools, the better you are, the faster your body responds. The more in control you are of your inner experience. You are in control. You're the master of your mind, your body, and your life. And this is yours to use and to continue to use. And then you breathe out and you open your eyes.
That was really nice.
Tell me about your experience.
No, it was really nice. It was, I had a thing this morning and that really got me upset. And then, so I thought about that moment and I was able, it's interesting that you said, so it became kind of like this weirdish, thready like black ball is what it turned out to be. And I was holding it in my chest for sure. And then, you know, when you say that, you know, you could dim it to black or white, it just naturally went white for me. Like it just disappeared that way as opposed to dark.
Yes.
Which was interesting. And then it just kind of like lifted, my chest lifted. And then it kind of traveled to my brain somehow. I don't know. I felt it. I felt like a thing here. I don't know. It wasn't a pain or anything. It was just like a something.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And then it was really cool. And then I just felt calmer. You know, there was like a, I mean, I don't know if it's cliche to say like a weight lifted, but there just felt how there was a lightness, which was very cool. So the timing of it, I mean, I'm wondering, and then it made me wonder now that I'm thinking about it, like, do you do it in the moment or you do it after? Do you know what I mean? Like if it's still bothering you, then you do it. Or if it's the type of thing you're on the phone and you get into a fight or something and then you, or whatever it may be.
I would hang up the phone, say, you know what, let's get back together on this call in 20 minutes. You hang up the phone, everybody goes to their corner, and then you do this. You do this. So we get out of that ongoing chronic experience. It is so good for our body, our immune system, our digestive system, our reproductive system, our lymphatic system. Our body can start to operate freely like the way it was designed and created to. Our thinking is clear. Because then we can maybe look back and say, oh, geez, yeah, that wasn't, we can look back on what just happened, or we can look back and re-examine. This isn't about just having your feelings and saying, oh, I'm human, those are my feelings, I've got to express them, and then we lay waste to everybody and ourselves. That's not what it's about, because there was a need. So let's just say you're on the phone with someone and this happens and you start feeling a certain way and it feels really uncomfortable. It's because there is a need. You need something. The feeling is saying you need something you're not getting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. And at this age, it's really our responsibility to make sure we get what we need.
So do you ask for it, or you need to find it internally? Like, is it about communicating to that person what you're lacking, what you need from that person? Or is it trying to figure out, okay, they are who they are, I'm not going to get it here?
Typically, we do well when we get those things from ourselves. When we provide ourselves with the unconditional love, we provide ourselves with safety, we provide ourselves with purpose and worth. We can only get those things from ourselves. If we're looking for somebody else to make us happy or to make us feel love, first of all, that's a tall order. Who's going to do it for them? And then who does it for them? Now we're in a domino effect.
Right.
We got to do it for ourselves. We've got to become these whole people that are able to feel some discomfort and work with it. Because if not, we're just dumping this on other people and saying, well, you don't fulfill my needs. Well, what are your needs? Maybe you are in the wrong place looking for that. Maybe you need to really sit down and figure out and start journaling and writing about, well, what is it that you need, and how can you get those things by you being you and you alone without depending on other people? Because, that's our strength, is to be able to provide for ourselves emotionally. And when we do that, we're going to want to be around people, and we're going to thrive. We're here to thrive. We're going to thrive around other people that know their emotions, understand their feelings, even the ones they don't like, and they're able to step up and be emotionally fit. And it takes daily, you do this for the rest of your life. Be emotionally fit and be able to meet you where you are, just like you're going to meet them where they are, without expecting them to be anything different than who they are. Have the courage to allow yourself to feel the feelings, the uncomfortable ones and the unpleasant ones, because when we work with it this way and we become better and better at it, it's truly a superpower. Truly. In the beginning, it might not feel like a superpower. It is, once you exercise that muscle and take control of your inner world. You'll get so much more information from inside of yourself. You'll be directed to people, places, and things that will just seemingly fall at your feet. And it will be, it's just such a coincidence. You get to know who you are. You get to trust yourself. And you get to trust your feelings.